Hi Stampers, Rose Coleman with stampingwithrose.com, coming to you with a video featuring a technique called Shimmer Paint Resist. Now I'm going to show you this technique using this card. I'm going to do this card with you. This particular card uses some products that were only available in the month of May with Stampin' Up, but I've had a few requests on how to make this card, so I'm just going to show you using these products, but I want to also show you that you can substitute with current products, Stampin' Up products, and make an equally just as nice card using the Shimmer Paint. Now Shimmer Paint, this particular Shimmer Paint that I'm using was in the Everything is Rosy bundle, and it is called Rose Gold, and it looks like this in this little paint bottle, and there's a little ball bearing inside, so you just want to shake it to mix that up. So this one was only available for a limited time, but currently in the Stampin' Up catalog you can get these ones. There's Champagne Mist and you can get Frost White, and these colors would also work with the technique I'm about to show you. So let's get started. I am starting my card with Blushing Bride. So I have a piece that measures 11 inches by 4 1/4, and I've scored it at 5 1/2. I'm just going to set that aside. I also have a piece of Very Vanilla that measures 4 by 5 1/4, and I ran it through the Subtles embossing folder. And you know what? We can go ahead and stick that right down onto our card front using some snail adhesive. Just going to put that on the front like so. Okay, so that's done. So now what I want to do, I'm going to do the technique on a piece of glossy cardstock. Now, since I did this project, glossy cardstock has gone retired, but you can do this technique using photo paper. You just need something with a glossy finish, and you'll see why in a second. So I'm just going to, I have a piece here that measures 1 3/4 inches by 4 inches, and I'm going to bring in my Shimmer Paint. I'm just going to give that a good shake, make sure it's all mixed up well, and I want to use a finger dauber, and from the Everything is Rosy stamp set I'm going to use this little sprig, and you could use any stamp. It doesn't have to be from this particular stamp. It would work with all kinds of images. I'm just reaching for my ink pad here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to dip into this. We're going to just dip into the lid, okay? So there's as you can see, there's quite a bit of that shimmer paint in the lid. So I'm going to take my finger dauber, put it onto my index finger, and I'm going to dip in just very, very gently and get a little bit of that paint on the tip of my dauber. Now, I don't want to use this exactly as it is. I want to blot some of it off. So I'm going to pick up my jar and I'm going to just scrape the inside edge just to take off some of that excess shimmer paint. And then what I'm going to do, let me zoom in here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to dab from the finger dauber onto the stamp, directly onto the stamp, just like this. And this should be enough. I should not have to go back in and get any more. It should be enough on the dauber to cover this whole piece of cardstock. So I'm just going to keep re-inking my stamp and going off the side of the cardstock just to give that more of a continuous look. It's amazing how far a little bit of the shimmer paint will go. You don't need to use very much. And if you remember, I actually dabbed or scraped quite a bit of that off on the inside of that ridge of my jar. So I'm still going strong here. I got lots in the finger dauber on the tip there, and maybe one more down the bottom like that. Okay, so now I'm done with that. Let's just put the lid on my shimmer paint for now, and I'm going to let that dry. It should take about 10 minutes or so to dry, and you can see that beautiful shine. You've got the shine from the glossy cardstock, but you're getting that beautiful shimmer from the shimmer paint. And through the magic of television, I do have one that is dry. I did before I went on camera. So I'm going to just lay this down. I'm going to bring in my crumb cake ink pad, and I just got to grab a Kleenex. 1 second. Sorry about that. Okay, so now I'm going to pick up my ink pad. I've got a just a Kleenex here. I'm going to take my ink pad and I'm just going to dab crumb cake ink all over the top of this piece, just like that. And then I'm going to use my Kleenex, my soft tissue, to rub over top. And you can see as I rub that excess ink off of the glossy cardstock, the rose red, the shimmer rose red sprigs will come through. Isn't that beautiful? I love, love, love this shimmer paint, and I can't wait to try this with the other shimmer paints that we have in the catalog. You know, you can do snowflakes for Christmas, the champagne, you know, we've got champagne and we've got the frost white. So lots of different cards. Use your creativity to create different cards using that shimmer. Okay, so now we've got that piece ready to go. Let's bring back our card base. And at the time when I made this card, the Very Vanilla lace trim was current. So I used a little bit of that. I just took it and I just made a simple knot like that. And I didn't pull it too tight. I wanted it to be nice and gentle. So a nice little soft knot. I'm just going to cut that piece. Now, it is now June, so this is a retired product, but I can show you a current lace that we have in the catalog right now, and this is absolutely gorgeous. This one here is also Very Vanilla, and it's the scallop lace trim. So they've even kicked it up a notch with those scallops. Just wanted to share that with you in case you're watching this video at a later time. And these products, like I said, are not currently available, but the technique certainly is. So I'm going to take this knot. I just added a little bit of a snail on the back of my piece of cardstock here. I'm just going to wrap this bow around the back so that it's secure at the back like that. And then I can go ahead and put lots of adhesive on. And of course I just ran out of snail because I'm on a video, of course. But that's okay, I have lots more within my reach. Okay, let's keep adding some glue on here. Okay, so this is gonna go on the left side of my card like that. Now I have some stamping to do. So I have from the Ovals Framelit Dies, the scallop one is done with crumb cake, and then I have another one just in Very Vanilla, slightly smaller, so they will layer on top of one another. So I'm just gonna stamp my greeting. So my greeting is this one, may your birthday be filled with pretty things, and I'm gonna ink that up with soft suede. Just bring in my soft suede here. And just gonna ink that up and stamp it in the middle. I've also mounted these little flowers, and I'm gonna put those, I'm gonna stamp those with Blushing Bride, just off to the side of my greeting, like that. There we go. And I've also got a little sponge that I've designated for Blushing Bride. I'm going to dip that into my ink pad. I'm just going to scratch off. I'm just basically scraping the sides of my piece of cardstock here. I really like how soft the ink is, just a soft ink on the edges, and you can do more or less. It's as much as you want, but it just really takes away from the stark, just the plain vanilla. And I'm going to mount that onto my crumb cake piece. And when I put it onto the crumb cake, you can actually see that Blushing Bride pop out even more. So that is ready to go onto my card front. Just going to grab a couple of dimensionals. And I'm going to bring back my card front. I'm going to put this right on the front like this. But I'm not done yet because I have to stamp with those beautiful flowers. So I'll show you how I did the flowers on my card, this part here, the accent at the front. Okay, so I have a piece of Very Vanilla scrap. I'm going to use the big flower and the smaller flower. The big flower I'm going to stamp straight into my Blushing Bride and put it onto my cardstock. The little flower I'm going to stamp into Blushing Bride, but I'm going to stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp onto my Very Vanilla, so I get a lighter shade. So this is straight out of the ink pad. This is stamped off once. Now I've got this little teeny tiny one here. I'm going to stamp that in Blushing Bride, and I'll stamp it straight off the ink pad onto my little flower. Maybe I should come in a little closer, you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so that's my little flower there. That's with Blushing Bride in the middle. I'm just going to clean this stamp with my chamois. Look how dirty my chamois looks. Oh my goodness. It still works though. Okay, I've got this little guy. This little stamp is going to go in the middle. I'm just going to back out a little tiny bit here. Okay, so I'm going to stamp Blushing Bride and stamp off, and I'm going to stamp in the center of that flower just to shade it in a little bit. I'm going to bring back that little speckle. This time I'm going to stamp for the big flower. I'm going to use Soft Suede for the middle. And then I am ready. I think I'm done with my inks. Yes, I am. I'm going to close up my ink pad so I don't make a little accident. And using the framelits, I'm going to use these two framelits that came with the set to cut out these flowers. So the bigger one and the little one. And through the magic of TV or video, I already have these cut out here like this. And then I want to show you what I did. I brought back the Shimmer Paint again, gave it a little shake, used the lid. I always use the lid. Went in and got a little tiny bit and just scrape off the excess. Then I picked up these and I used my dauber to sponge the edges of my flowers. So it highlights the edges of the flowers, and it also adds more shine, right? That beautiful shine that we want. So I'm just going to do that to both of my flowers all the way around. There we go. So there's my two flowers ready to go on my card. I also wanted to use, in this product medley that was available, we had sheets of the rose gold foil. So I'm using a single sprig, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my flowers together first. So I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive to the tiny flower, and I'm going to layer the big one at the bottom, just like that. So now it's one piece. So now I'm going to bring in my scissors. I'm going to snip this into 3 because we really don't need a lot. We just need enough to do some little accents. So I'm going to snip it here, and how about here? So there, my sprig I've now split into 3, okay? So what I want to do, I find it easier to flip over my flowers and add some snail to the back and make it sticky. Then I pick it up like this, and I can visualize it better. I hold it in my hand, and then I can see where I'm putting those sprigs. Whoops. And if I put enough adhesive, you can never put too much adhesive, right? So I'm going to put that one there. And then I want to have a little bit coming out the side. If I can pick this up, like this, coming out right here. And then I'm going to put one coming off this side. So one sprig, one die, and I've snipped it 3 different ways. So I've made 3 different little sprigs. So it's a great way to use up very little of your paper and to make it more cost effective, right? Especially with this bundle, because we could not buy any replacement packages for this one. So I wanted to share this card with my club members, but I didn't want to have to not have any left over. So this was my solution. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now where's my card? Let's bring my card back in, and I'll add this to the side just like so. There. So there's my completed card. Super easy, and as I said, you can make your own shimmer resist cards using any of the current shimmer paints that we have in the catalog, Champagne Mist or Frost White, and I would love to see what you guys are making using the shimmer resist technique. If you have any questions, let me know. My name is Rose Coleman, and you can reach me at stampingwithrose.com. Thanks so much for joining me today. Bye-bye.